All right, first impression. This is the wind. Whoa. Not much. He's on a 17, he's on at least a 15. Ain't doing crap, but I think they're also learning. But anyhow, long story short is the wind is light. And even with the wind being light, this trip has a really good low end. So it locks in really well. I don't know if it's that 3D printing or what. The bindings are super comfortable, really easy to adjust. I like that. Overall, I was very impressed for a first time impression riding it. So let's go ahead and see how the Nobile does. Hi, I'm Jason Logson from adventure-logs.com, and today I'm going to finish up my review on the Flysurfer Trip Splitboard. Now, I've had a lot of split boards. Back in 2014, Flysurfer came out with the Flysplit. That was a cooperation partnership with Nobile. They came out with basically, it was an S and then it was a W. I had a trip to Sri Lanka and I bought the Flysurfer Large, which was the door Flysplit. And I instantly fell in love with it. It was so easy to travel when it split. It had such a great range. It was just a fantastic board. So as soon as I got home, I bought the Flysplit Medium. A couple years later, they updated it slightly. In 2017, they did the Flysplit 2, which was generally the same board, just different sizes and a little bit larger size, and they got rid of the large door split board. Nobile basically kept putting out new generations. They kept updating their split design. I don't know how many generations there is now. I know there's a lot. So they've really gotten the board down. And there are some big differences between this and this. Now, so I've had the Flysplit Medium, the Flysplit Large. I also had the Zen, which was their Nobile's hybrid foil surfboard. I had 2 of those, and I got this back in I think 2017-ish as a sponsorship on my motorcycle trip down to Argentina. It's been a great board. I always say this is actually a really, really good board. It has great pop. It really, you can jump pretty high with it, but I never thought it was a good travel board because you needed so much power to get up and get going that it just, that's not what I'd want for traveling. So I was kind of curious how the trip was going to be. So this is a 138 by 43, and this is a 137 by 41.5. So it is a smaller board. So the trip is a different partnership. It's with Shinn boards. Shinn came out with the Slicer, and there are a little bit differences between the Flysurfer and the Shinn. The shape is overall the same, but the sizes are slightly different. Shinn comes out with a 138 by 41.5 and a 140 by 43, where Flysurfer, they do this, which is a 137 41.5, and they do a 142 by 43. So Flysurfer does a little bit smaller and a little bit bigger. So depending on what your needs are, you have more options of what you can get. Also, Flysurfer is a little bit different with the fins. Flysurfer offers these fire fins, which I'll get into a little bit more later. So let's go and let's do the overall impression. The bindings. The first thing, the bindings are just wonderful. They are the most comfortable bindings I've ever used. There's a significant amount of adjustment that you can do. You can adjust the angle, you can adjust how you want your straps to hold. To me, almost a little bit too much adjustability. I usually adapt to the binding, where these really, the bindings will adapt to you if you really put the time and effort in. They are just fantastic bindings. Also, very unique with this is very 3D printed. It's got these tri-steps put in on the ends. They really help with pop. It has a constant rocker throughout the entire board, which makes it very comfortable on landings. With this PU tubing in the middle, it's supposed to help keep that constant rocker and just help with the stresses when you do hard landings. Also, it has some reverse concave in the middle, which is really, really interesting. So it's got a lot of technology in this board. But there's a little bit of a downside to that is if you look, this is a really, I have really big fingers. This is a really thick board, like a ½ inch thick, almost comical. I was really surprised, you know, how thick this board is, but you really need that for this 3D shaping. And it's worth it. Even though this is smaller, I did a lot of back-to-back tests, same conditions, same kites, using this NHP Carbon compared to this. And even though this is a bigger board, this has a much larger range. The bottom end on this is amazing for the size. And it has basically the same top end as this. It rides differently, where the Nobile here, you're going to do more carving and more of a traditional board, at least for me. Where with this and the 3D shaping, you ride it a little bit flatter. That's how you make it work better. So it is definitely different. But the pop is just about the same. The only thing that I think this maybe shines a little bit better is when you're overpowered in really choppy conditions. This seems to be more comfortable, slices through a little bit better, but that could just be because you're edging more, so you're slicing through those waves, where this, which is a little bit flatter, so then you're going to be riding on top. So I think that's possibly the difference. I did do some woo tests, and I know the woo isn't the most accurate, but it's really good about seeing trends. And I was constantly jumping higher with this, not by much, usually between a ½ meter to a meter. So only a couple feet higher, but still it was always a little bit higher on this board. And that means a lot to me, because that's where this NHP Carbon really shined, was big air popping up in the air. That's where it shined. And for this to do a little bit better and still be smaller is extremely impressive. Another downside though for these 3D shaping and how thick it is that it's going to be a little bit heavier than I would like. Now the Flysplit back in 2014, that was a very flat board, no real shaping or anything like that. It was very thin, and you know, it had simpler bindings, the much simpler fins, and that came at a 2.65 kilograms. Now I have the cheapy cargo baggage weight you get for when you're traveling around. So it's not going to be the most accurate, but I'm going to compare these two and see how much they weigh. So let's see here. So the Flysplit was 2.65. This is zeroed out. You're looking at 4.48, so about 4.5 kilos. So it is significantly heavier than the previous generations. But again, this weight is transitioned into range, usability, and comfort. So I think it's a fair trade. I just wish it was a little bit lighter. And let's see what the Nobile. Now the Nobile, this generation, even though it was a carbon design, it actually was a little bit heavier than their non-carbon version. But it's a very stiff board. Let's see what this says. So this is 4.6. So just slightly heavier. So it is still a little bit lighter than this. So still very well doable. Now the Trip, it comes with a really premium board bag, which I'm quite impressed with. It's got this really nice layer between the two to help separate the boards so it's not rubbing against each other, which is nice. And it's got a really nice shoulder strap. It's thick, so honestly I think you could put the board in here and probably maybe 1 or 2 kites. If you got a harness that lays flat, you could probably put a whole quiver right in this, which is pretty cool. Also, they come with like a little accessory bag that you can put all your bindings and everything in. I'm using that for my anchor bag and my jet ski, but that's also really nice as well. Now let's talk about the only other thing that I'm not really happy with is these fins. This is exclusive for Flysurfer. Shinn don't come with these. They're called fire fins, yeah. So what's special about these is that they're snap-on, snap-off fins, right? So you push them, they click with some effort and some wiggling. They're supposed to come right off. But just like that. If you're the type that likes to change your fins around for conditions, then this is perfect for you. I never do that. I never cared about that. So I think this is a little bit overkill, a little bit too just over-engineered. Also, I think it's kind of not needed because like, when you take this off, you still got this. And this can still scratch up your board. It can still get damaged. And quite honestly, the fins are soft, rubbery, where these are hard plastic. So I think that these little nubs will actually scratch your board more than the fin itself. Also, they're different screws. They're more like wood screws, and they have some Loctite on it, so you really need a lot of effort to put these on and off. So it's not something that you can do, something you'd want to do on a daily basis. And I don't like that because when I break down, I want it to be nice and flat, right up against each other to save weight. And you really can't do that with these. So that's probably something I'm going to change on my own, is put these more traditional fins with maybe some leftover Nobile thumb screws, and then it'll be easy to put on and off, and I don't have to worry about that. But they are kind of neat. You just click, click, and it's back on again. Click, click, comes right off. But it's a gimmick. I don't know. But other than that, it's been a great board. Something else I've noticed after using is these get a little discolored. I'm in South Padre Island where it's really briny water and it's super salty, and the metal's getting a little discolored here, but it's not rusting or anything, so I don't think that's a problem. But a huge benefit with the way this design is, these come in and out, no problem. I mean, that is a huge improvement over the Flysplit. The Flysplits, a lot of times you had to really use a lot of effort or even a hammer to put these in, which I didn't like. These are just super in and out, no problem. Compared to even the Nobile, which uses even a different design, which their pins are on the interior here. As you can see, they fill up with sand. You really need little fingers, and it's a pain in the butt. So I really like that design. I just wish there was a way you can lose them, because I lose my stuff. But Other than that, if you are looking for a good travel board that's all around, I think this is a pretty good decision. It's got more range than a Nobile. It takes a little bit longer to set up. I really like how quick and easy and toolless this is with these thumb screws. I mean, look, this is boom, boom, off. Totally flat, don't need to worry about it. Yeah, there's a little bit of a edge here, but it's just so nice and simple. That and that's kind of cool. But if I had to choose between the two, I'd pick the Flysurfer. It's just a better travel board. It does just as good in jumps and pop and carving as this, but it has a lower wind range, so you can take it out on lighter winds. The bindings are much more comfortable, and it's a pretty nice board. So you have any questions or anything that I haven't covered, please put below. If you have one of these or have anything to add, let us know. It's all about paying it forward. If you want to see how it's assembled, especially with these fins and why I didn't really like them, check out my past previous video. So I'm hoping in the near future, when I get back on the water, I'm waiting for a couple parts, but I'm going to do a review on this. I think this is the next game changer. It is a seatbelt style quick release from Flexion, which is a guy in Europe where he makes custom bars, and he's making these. Basically, this stays on your harness, and then you have the basically you retrofit your bars where they just kind of have a ring and a little plastic piece, so it's easy. And that's all you have on the bar, and it just clicks in like a seatbelt. Click, and there you go. Really good. I like it also because the safety is integrated, so this whole thing will swivel. So if you loop a lot like I do, you don't have to worry about your lines getting all tangled up. I'm a little curious about this. Seems like a little bit less clearance for my rope slider, but we'll see. But I honestly think this is the future you're going to see in kiteboarding in the next 5 years or so, where you're just going to buy your quick release. You're going to have one, and then all your bars are just going to be set up for that. So it's pretty interesting. So we'll see how it goes. But I mean, really good safety. I'll cram it full of sand. You know, I'm not very good at maintaining stuff, so that won't be hard. I'll definitely see the extremes of it. Also, probably the next one's going to be a comparison with the Groove foil boards. They do custom foil boards that I absolutely love. I have the first generation Skate, and then I have their new Wave. So I'm going to show you some examples of why I love it and the differences and things like that. That's coming as well. And if there's anything you guys want to see, let me know. I'm pretty good about you know, trying to, you know, always about paying it forward. And if you got any questions, just put it down below. So, like always, like, subscribe, comment. Feedback, good or bad, is always good for me. It motivates me. I always like it when I'm helping guys. And I guess I'll see you next time. I'm Jason Logson from adventure-logs.com. I'll see you on the water. Thanks.